Hello, dear ones. I'm going to speak about the sign of Libra. And if you would like to understand what is Libra, if you are a Libran or you have a Libran partner or somebody close to you or family member or your boss or whoever is a Libran, this is going to help you to understand what exactly is behind that sweet, handsome, beautiful face of the Libra. So let's get into the depth of Libra. When we speak about Libra, what comes to our mind? The scales. Yes, the justice, the scales. So it's exactly like this actually. The Librans are quite like this in life. Up and down and down and up. And what is all this about in a Libran? A Libran is a person who always is trying to bring harmony. The harmony in life. Many a times I feel that the Librans are always weighing actually. Yeah, they are always weighing everything in life. In order to get that harmony in life, they are always trying to strike a balance. And it's not that every time they achieve that balance. When they don't achieve that balance, they can be very stubborn, rigid, or they can get sarcastic. But actually that's the Libra downside. But when you see the Librans, when they weigh things and when they are in the proper proportion of weighing, when they come to that level of, meeting the right balance, you meet that heavenly Libra. And how is that heavenly Libra? This heavenly Libra is somebody who's extremely good looking. Okay, the Librans are, I feel they are the most good looking people of the zodiac, because they are so much ruled by the Venus, the Venusian influence is so much on them. When you look at them, they are quite well balanced in the sense, bodily speaking also. How do you recognize a Libran? It's quite a thing, because the smile of a Libra, oh, you will just melt under the smile of a Libra. When they smile, it's like, oh, it's like chocolate. It's like you just melt. No matter how angry you are, no matter how upset you are, when the Libran looks at you and smiles, you're defeated. It's out and out defeat to you. You cannot help it. It's like you just melt under this smile. This is one of the most beautiful smiles that they give to everyone, and they are really this kind of magic about this smile. And most of the Librans have the dimples on the cheeks. So when they smile, you will see the dimples on their cheeks. And if you can see also, if they are really, really pure Librans, they have those dimples on the cheeks. Otherwise, they can have dimples on the elbows. Look at the Libran babies. You will notice the dimples on their elbows, dimple on their knees. Those little, very beautiful dimples. And that smile with those dimples, either on one side they will have this lilting smile that they have, there's something very special about their smile. It's like it's really worth of millions actually, because it just can make your day. That smile makes your day. You just look at them and you feel, wow, this is something so lovely, and you just melt. Because Libra is a hardcore romantic also. They have this philosophical thing in them, and at the same time they are quite practical. So they are quite, balancing those two things. So for me, Libra is like a poetry. It's a poetry to me. Libra is all about poetry. It is a poetry. You look at a Libra and you feel, wow, there is, I mean, as a writer, I would write an article upon them or a poetry upon them, because there is this brightness on their face. You can make out a Libran because they are quite the good-looking people. Not all the Librans, because some of them can be less good-looking, but some of them are really like strikingly good-looking. And they can really be magnetic. They can attract people towards them. And what attracts people towards them is their, peaceful appearance. You look at the Librans, you can feel peace. There is this kind of very sensual and, magnetic thing about the Librans. The typical Venusian Librans are really, very magnetic people. And when they laugh, have you heard a Libran laugh? You should. When they laugh, it's like 100 wind chimes are, are making the jingling and the sound, It's really like, when the wind blows and those wind chimes. So it's so soothing to the ears. You will never forget a Libran laugh. You should, if you have any friends or you yourself are a Libran, just listen to your own laugh. It's really like something like, for me, it's like, it's like the wind chimes or the bubbling brook water. Like, tick, tick, tick. It's so musical. This is why I said Libra is for me. Libra is poetry for me. Yes, but attention, Libra has their other side too. And what is this other side? When they are like this, all this is good. But when they go a bit downer, they're extremely sensitive people, extremely sentimental people, as they have a very philosophical, way of looking at things. They are extremely sensitive and they can really weep their sentiments out, They can just cry and they can fall into depressions when their sentiments are not understood, when their love is not reciprocated, when some hardships of life get them down. At that time, this magnetic poetry gets into the lower side, and this is when depression sets in for them. And they are like, they get filled with sarcasm, and because they are not fine inside, so they can be very conflicting at such times. They can get sarcastic, but we need to understand, because their heart has been hurt. So that's why they get into this kind of sarcasm, rigidity, stubbornness, and conflicting nature. I mean, a Libra man can go and bash up somebody if you have really hurt him badly. He is not going to spare you, okay? And a Libra woman can be extremely sarcastic when she is disturbed inside. She can be nagging. She can get stubborn, but nobody understands is that behind this, it just means that, look, I am not fine. Something inside has been, the scales have been moved. They were nice and balanced, and now they have just gone down. So I need to come up. And they do work on themselves, and they do come up, and they do balance themselves back. And once again, you see this beautiful poetry in front of you, smiling and flashing that lovely smile. So this is what is Libra about. Basically, they are so philosophical about both their joys and sorrows. I feel many Librans are very good writers. If they write, it's really philosophical, the way of writing, and many a times the way of looking at things. We say Librans are very pragmatic, practical people, But actually, Librans are, for me, or what I have observed with so many Librans that I have acquainted and I met and close people, is that they have this element of philosophy in them. For them, life is a philosophy. This is what Libra is all about. And they are born under this sign because they have to understand the philosophy of life. Because a Libran life is not extremely easy. This is what I have noticed too, is that Libran life is either made up of lots of success or lots of failure. They are all the time in these two, they are swinging, they are oscillating between the success and failures. Many a times Librans don't have a very good childhood or family life. There is an element that is a bit disturbing, but they have to know that they are born there because they are the ones who have to bring balance in those situations or circumstances that are not very easy. And the Libran sense of judgment, sense of fairness can balance almost anything and everything. Have you discussed with a Libran? Like, for example, once with my Libran friend, I was like, "Oh, this movie is so good," and my friend replied, "No, well, didn't you notice that this and this was not okay in the movie? Well, this scene was this." I mean, the Libran analyzed the whole thing in front of me, and I was like, yes, I didn't notice anything. So the Libran can really, see through, cut things and put it right in front of you, and well, you are like, yes, I mean, they are just being just, okay? For them, they have to see things the way they are, not like the way they would like to. Just, yeah, reality is what matters to Libra, okay? So they will always see all the sides of the situation, everything. And this is why for the Librans, it becomes very difficult to take decisions in life. They can appear confused, and you say, "Libra and confused? No, you're kidding me." Yes, Librans can be confused. And why are they confused? It's not because they cannot decide, okay? It's not because they cannot decide. It is just because they would like to be fair. And being fair, my dear Librans, you know it more than anyone else, is not an easy task. Because you have to take everyone into consideration. So if they want to take a decision, they look at every angle of it. My God, even if I think of it, it scares me. It's like every angle they have to take into consideration. Like, if I take this step, then how is it going to affect this one or that one or that one or this situation as a whole? And finally, the Librans lose opportunities because of that. Why? Not because they couldn't decide, because they took too long to really balance those scales. And in the, during that time duration of balancing those scales, the opportunity has come and the opportunity has left. And then the Libra is struck with the pain of the loss. And this is where the Libra sinks into down feelings of depression. For a Libran, love is very important, extremely important. And many a times the Librans lose their first love. That's what I've seen. Just like the Virgo, actually. The Librans lose their first love because many a times what happens is that when they fall in love, they are so young that they just, by the time they figure it all out, the person has gone to somebody else, or the person has altogether disappeared from the scene. So because of that, it becomes very difficult for them. Like, the first love is something very important to the Libran, and the Libran doesn't forget that. And this very thing of not forgetting it, it's like it lingers inside of them throughout their life, and that creates kind of this vacuum also many a times in their life. Like, they will have everything, but they will still feel, I don't have something very important, something which was extremely meaningful for them is not there. So many a times, majority of the Librans are struggling with this lack of something in their lives, and because of that, somehow they can get into overindulgence of certain things, like overindulgence in eating, drinking, or overindulgence in eating sweets and things like that. And because of that, this typical thing can create a problem with their health. And the health of the Libra is basically, the areas affected for the Libra are the stomach. They are the stomach, they are the intestines. They can have many a times Librans suffer from ulcers because they are so much dynamic also, or those bottled up emotions that have not sprouted out just because they didn't want to hurt people around, just because they wanted to maintain peace and harmony. Everything they accumulate in their tummy there, in their stomach, in their intestines. Even bladder can suffer many a times, and of course, because everything is in there, just in order to maintain the peace and harmony, well, violent headaches, migraines, this is what comes up. They need to forgive. Librans need to forgive, but at times it becomes difficult, and then it all gets stuck in this part, and then the head starts, making its presence known. And then the head is like, then the head starts aching, and those migraines, really, really violent headaches can start for Librans. So they got to be careful with that, because Libra, you know that every time it's not possible to maintain peace and harmony. You have to let it out, you have to let it go. Yes, because you are the ones who are the peacemakers of the zodiac, who know of how to get peace in a particular situation by explaining the facts and explaining all sides of the things to everyone. But then, is it more important than your own self, is my question to you. You analyze it, because you're good at doing that. Is it really important to have peace and be bottled up so much inside with all those emotions inside of you? You have to find ways to give it out, dear Libra. And many of you, because of that also, I see that you are doing lots of gym and lots of exercises, aerobics, and so many Librans are into keeping themselves fit. Yeah. And they are, if you want to see a Libran is very health conscious. This is what I've noticed also. Extremely health conscious, because they want to keep their body fit and fine. And many of them will be, if you see a Libra, either the Libran is very, well kept and very, slender or muscled for the men, and very, proportionate, yeah, because everything has to be like that. Yeah, but some of the Librans who are under the Taurian influence can be a bit chubby, plumpy, and baby like, chubby chubby. Yeah, so this is the because of the Tauran influence on them, or some ascendant in Taurus or things like that. But usually the Libra is more, well maintained, because they are a very health conscious sign, just like the Aries also. I see that they're very health conscious, and they want to maintain themselves very well, and they do it. Once a Libra makes up his mind that he wants to do something about his body, well, his willpower has no limits there. He will do it. But coming to that decision is another story, dear Libra. You know what I'm speaking about, yes? And then we see that a Libran has to have this harmony inside. So when a Libran is overworking, when a Libran is really, really working too hard and doing things, at times, means most of us know Libra as somebody very active, wants to work, wants to do things. But many a times what happens is that Librans can be seen as extremely lazy. Have you seen the Libra who is just like a couch potato, nicely relaxing, and you are speaking about lots of things, this is to be done, that is to be done, you're nagging the Libra, but they are just quietly taking a book, reading, watching the football match, watching the television, very cool, calm. Yeah, they're just looking at you and you're like, there is a list of things to do, dear Libra, when are you going to get moving? They just look at you and they give you that sweet smile, that really sweet smile, and you're like, okay, I give up, do it whenever you want. You are like, you just cannot do anything about it because that smile is so sweet. And lazily they look at you, and they are so lazy and they just smile at you, and they have done that magic on you. You are under the spell of the Libran smile. What do? You can't do anything. You are hypnotized. You are absolutely hypnotized by that smile, by those sweet little dimples here, or just that smile with like the bow, like the bow-like lips that they have. They're supposed to have very beautiful lips. This is what is said about them. Is like, cherry wine lips. This is what is the Libran poetic way of describing their lips. And they just smile at you, and you are like, I didn't say anything. Take your time as long as you want. It's okay, it can wait. And then after some time, the Libran has got recharged by this lazing around. And then up, that thing has again come back. And the Libran is moving, and the Libran is doing things. And you were like, oh, well, I thank God I didn't get into the mess of, fighting it out or things like that. So this is what happens with the Libras most of the times. And this is how I think they are really the best sellers also. Work-wise, I think the Librans are very good in marketing, communication field, wherever judgment is required. They are good judges of things, and judging without being extremely sarcastic about it is what the Librans are. And in positions of authority also, because at the same time they are quite structured and squared, but at the same time the way they communicate is so much like like even if they scold you, you feel as if they are throwing flowers on you. So like, okay, let it come. I'm getting insulted, but wow, those flowers of words that are coming. The way, how do you say? Librans are the best diplomats. They say the nastiest things in the nicest way. So if you have a fight with a Libran, they will never shout at you, okay? Have you heard of a Libran who is just shouting loud? No, I haven't come across any Libran who does that. But they will just, in a very sweet voice, they are like, okay, well, let me tell you that I really don't agree to it because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. And maybe you have been not very good at your work. If he's your boss, he will be like, maybe you have not been very good at your work, and you have been not working but doing some other things during the office hours. So is that good for you, dear? And like, is in fact, he's directly telling you that you're useless for our organization. You have been dozing off during your office hours. And but you take it so nicely because it's the Libran boss who's speaking to you, who's extremely, being diplomatic with you, who is insulting you, but you just don't feel insulted at the time. But attention, if the Libra is like this, he speaks that way. They speak that way. But if the Libran is up and down like that, the scales are like that, you've had it. You've had it, because there will be only few words that will be shot at you, and you will feel as the most miserable and the most, hurt person on this earth. So if you want an advice, or, you should ask a Libran, because they are good advices also. But if you want straight answers, please don't go to them. Yeah. You are better off with a water sign, except Scorpios, because they can also be quite straight. But if you want a very, if you don't want the facts, don't go to the Librans. Because if you tell them, oh, I just love this house, it's so beautiful, you tell Libran, and the Libran in 5 minutes is going to give you what it is not good about. They love it. They will say something which is not fine about it, and because they notice it, they have the eyes to notice it. Many Librans, they love books too, They will just love books, and they like the smell of the books. Have you noticed it? It's very strange, but they just love those hard paperback books and all. Quite a few Librans have their own libraries in the house. They are so much into these books. They love the poetry, they love novels, they love to write also. Many Librans are very good poets and writers, because it's that beauty, it's that beauty that captures their eyes. Whatever is beautiful captures the Libran eyes. So you will see their house also, the way it is kept. They will always, even if it is a shabby house or not a very big house or something like that, you will always see that there are one or two showpieces that are so beautiful in that house. Is that it displays that Libran thing. The Librans, they love the objects of beauty. So either they have very beautiful partners, or either they'll have the beautiful things at home. The way they keep the house is really, really beautiful, and really in order. This is what is very important for a Libran. Everything has to be in order. Everything has to be perfectly, put in its proper place. The moment something is not okay, they get disturbed, and then the scales move up and down, and there is nothing more painful than to see a Libran who is not in his or her proper balance. Everything turns topsy-turvy for them. They just are like, oh, I'm lost. Like inside of them, they're lost. And then you feel, oh, but just yesterday I saw this Libra, and he was or she was so full of smiles and everything. And today, person looks a bit, confused, indecisive, not so fine. But it's just that something in the scale has moved, and they don't like it. So they are trying to come back. And because of that, there is this inner restlessness, the Libran restlessness. You know it, dear Libra, this Libran restlessness is too much. They are so restless inside of them, because they are always trying to come to that point of balancing. And for them, this is so important that if they don't find this balance, a lifetime can be restless for them. So they have to, come to that point where everything is equal. Equality, balance, harmony, and peace. This is what matters to a Libra. The moment it is lost because of something at home, something at work, or if they haven't done something well, they will curse themselves like anything. They get hard on themselves at such times, but they are extremely brave also. They get up and then they go ahead. Yeah, because this is what I see in the Librans, is that many a times life is not very fair with the Librans, but these Librans, they have this strength, this courage. I've seen that really Librans are quite determined. It's like, okay, I haven't succeeded, I'm going to try again. And I am going to try it in another way. And they will try it. Yeah. And I also see that Librans, they have, they don't like exaggerations. They just don't like exaggerations. Do it simply. It is their mantra. Yeah, it is the affirmation is do it in a simple way. I mean, why do we need to exaggerate things? Because exaggeration means off balance again, right, dear Libra? So everything has to be in balance. And they have this brilliance of a diamond and the smoothness of an opal inside of them. So the melange, the mixture of these two is so beautiful, because at the same time that sharpness is there, because they are extremely intelligent people, and at the same time the smoothness of delivering things in a very beautiful way, in a very peaceful way. It's really beautiful. I think to be in love with a Libra is kind of a gift, because they will never be aggressive with you. They will admire you for your beauty, but at the same time there are some ting ting warning bells also, that if you ask them certain things, they are going to give you the reply, not because they will give you a straight reply on things. They will not just say because you have cooked a meal for them and like, oh, it's nice. They will say it's nice, but after some time they'll say, maybe if you would have added this and that into it, it would have been much, much better. Because the Libran has to tell you things as they are, not what you expect. Flattery and things like that, forget it with the Librans. I mean, that is not their piece of cake. They say things as they feel they should be, not as you expect them to be. As they are, rather. As they are. This is how they are, those Librans, those lovely smile Librans. Yes? And what else about Librans that I have found? Artistic. They are extremely artistic. So have you seen the Librans doing those beautiful paintings and playing with colors? Yes, dear Libra, this is why I feel spring is your favorite month, because the winter is too cold and the summer is too warm. So the balance is the springtime, right, dear Libra? So this is where you love those, or just the autumn also, because the autumn somewhere is like your own nature, this kind of quietness inside of you, this kind of a philosophical air. Yes, those leaves falling from the trees, shedding off their old dead skin and going to come up with something new. This is what Libra is to me. Libra for me is spring. Libra for me is spring and autumn. And why is it so? Because in the spring, new things are coming up. It's colorful. It's all about colors. It's all about the new beginnings. And it's all about poetry. And what is autumn? Autumn is all about reflection. Autumn is all about introspection. Autumn is that solitude. Autumn is that philosophical ambience. That is what Libra is. Autumn is about walking your path, walking on those dead leaves, walking your path, thinking about that poetry, thinking about life as a poem, thinking about life as a book, right from the beginning to the end. This is what you are, dear Libra. A poem to me, a beautiful poem. So make your life a beautiful story for people to see, for people to hear. You are endowed with so many talents. You are endowed with so many things to achieve. You are endowed with the gifts of justice. You are endowed with the gift of mediation, of being the peacemakers, of bringing the law and order, of getting people together, of walking that path with everyone. You are the leaders, dear Libra. The Libran leaders are the best because they take the followers into consideration, and every aspect of the team is taken into consideration by the Librans, no matter where they are, if they are teaching, if they are the judges, if they are the lawyers, advocates, if they are the doctors, if they are the boss in the companies running their own organizations, or writers, or poets, actors. You are loved because you are peace, and you are the ones who can get everyone together under the same roof with lots of harmony, and just with your smile you will just melt everyone and get everyone back. No matter who was not in your team comes back. So thank you, Libra, for watching the Libra video. I really liked diving into this Libran world. I really liked composing this poem called Libra. Thank you, and see you next time. Bye bye.